welcome back to Punk Politics. I'm Abe Thompson. Now, a wise man once said that the world has now become so insane, you have to be a little bit insane to stay sane in it. It was me, actually. I came up with that. It's pretty good, right? But as hardened and immune to said insanity as we've become, occasionally still, something will find its way into your periphery that just deserves some sort of award. It encapsulates and exhibits a level of lunacy rarely seen outside of that care home you stuffed your dad in. Like, I'm not judging, you know, it's not for me to judge. I'm not saying, like, you can't put a price on love. You know, the love that you feel for your father is absolutely priceless. It's unquantifiable. But if you could put a price on it, all I'm saying is, when I look at that care home, I don't know, I just, like, for me, I get sort of, you know, the Uber of care homes, the Primark of care homes. Or so. Anyway, look, let's get into this. You're not really going to leave me in here, are you, son? Well, I'm sorry, Dad, but the housing crisis that you keep saying doesn't exist has left me and Sheila living in a 2-bed apartment. Right, but I could sleep on the sofa. I mean, one of you could look after me. Again, I'm sorry, Dad, but the interest rates that you say aren't actually that big of a deal because you had to grapple with slightly higher interest rates back in the 70s have pushed me and Sheila back out into the workforce looking for second and third jobs. Right, but I could just sleep on the sofa and look after myself. No. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry. You're always going on about how much better it was in the good old days. Yeah, well, what's that got to do with it? Well, welcome to your new digs. I went out of my way to find you the most deprived 1940s-looking accommodation with the worst entertainment. No, God, this sounds awful. So here's your bag. Why don't you get yourself settled? I'm sure roll out the barrel and diphtheria will be along at any moment. You insolent little prick. See you in 3 weeks, Dad. Anyway, I digress. Where was I? I was going to talk about, lunacy, insanity. Occasionally, a new example of it greets us, and it turns out we're actually not that hardened. We're still able to be shocked by it. Look at this. This is a tweet I saw out in the wild the other day, and it references the airstrikes in Yemen following the Houthi attacking a ship. So this Iranian-backed group send some missiles over to an oil tanker or a British ship or something, and the US and UK promptly then go and do the airstrikes. You'll be aware of this, right? Anyway, this is a tweet that I saw in reference to that. It says, who do you want to protect you? The faceless purple-haired quims of social justice or the world's finest naval collaboration? Try shouting your pronouns at these bastards. Like, what? What do you... I said, who do you want to protect you? The faceless, purple-haired quims of social justice or the world's finest naval collaboration? Try shouting your pronouns of these bastards. So, like, I mean, there is so much to unwrap here. Like, first, how do we establish, like, who he's talking to? You know, is he talking to me as a sort of social justice-y commentator? Is he talking to, you know, you or his mates or the British people in general? Who do you want to protect you? I mean, I assume that it is just the British public is who that message is meant for, which is hilarious because in actual, like, if we're honest about it, the general public, the British public probably do need protection in a social justice capacity more than they need protection from a terror cell 4,000 miles away. Like, the Houthi aren't talking about taking away your maternity leave. I never heard any Houthi talking about restricting your right to strike, restricting your right to withhold your labour and work with a union and get a better deal for you and your family. Did the Houthi do that? Do you need protection from the Houthis? Mini budget? Who do you want to protect you? The faceless purple-haired quims of social justice? So, second, faceless purple-haired quims. Purple-haired quims. Now, this one just outright confused me. Like, if it's a faceless account, how would you know if they had purple hair or not? Or the world's finest naval collaboration. Collaboration. Guys, that's what's happening here. I don't know if you were aware of it. It's a collaboration. It's a special relationship. But like so much of the special relationship, this is self-flagellating nonsense. Like the United States, have an aircraft carrier warship and several air bases in and around the Red Sea. And they did most of the airstriking here. Now that's the United States. Now, comparatively, we, Great Britain, sent 4 typhoons. That is it. It's four oh no, 8, and we have a boat there, but no, it can't do sea to land missiles or anything. Collaboration. So yeah, collaboration is pretty funny. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Paul Burrell interview back in the day where we tried to sort of rebrand or like repackage the fact that he was Diana's butler as though it was him collaborating with her. Well, yes, when I worked with Diana, with Princess Diana, really, like you were counterparts, were you? Yeah, when I worked with Diana, it's a collaboration between Princess Diana and her butler. You weren't collaborating with her, Paul. You were her butler. You put her shoes in the shoe rack and you served her the main, you bellend. Try shouting your pronouns to these bastards. And finally, yes, try shouting your pronouns at these bastards. Like, I read that and I was like, wait, I'm sorry, who is supposed to be shouting their pronouns at the warships? Try shouting your pronouns at these bastards. Like, who is this? Is it me? Am I supposed to be shouting my pronouns at the Navy? Like, why? Why would I be doing like... Or is the implication that the Navy don't care about diversity? Is that what it is? Because, unsurprisingly, the Navy have the same responsibilities as any other British employer. Honestly, like, this idea that they're, the Navy is like, they're all white, red-blooded ballbusters getting into scraps in the mess hall, telling more effeminate types to man up over there. Like, that whole thing is just so tired. It's hack as Try shouting your pronouns at these bastards. I don't know, like maybe he thinks the Houthi are gonna shout their pronouns at the warships. But no, I mean that would be ridiculous. That feels misguided, doesn't it? Even for a GB news presenter.
I'm not saying anybody could do this, but you could take a common man like Paul, and he could probably do a better job than he's doing today. Why don't you give him a chance?
You want Paul to host the show?
Yeah, well, I don't want him to. I think
Paul, do you want to host the show?
Don't ask.
Andrew, I'll do whatever you want.
Andrew.
Maybe the suggestion is that people like you and me obsess over nonsense like social justice, like, what do we like? But when real shit matters, well, that's when we send in the big boys, clearly. But then if that was the dynamic that he was getting at, then why would I be shouting my pronouns at the Navy? Like, wouldn't that make me then the enemy of the Navy? Like, in Paul's mind, I am somehow both the aggressor shouting he, him at all of these American warships, American planes, and the one British boat, and a couple of Harrier jets, maybe, if they don't run out of fuel. But that's me. I'm the aggressor shouting he, him at this military fleet. And yet I am simultaneously a prospective protector of everyday Brits. And clearly, everyday Brits must decide if they want the Navy or me protecting them from me shouting pronouns at the warships 4,000 miles away. That is the level of lunacy we are seeing here. It's Schrodinger's geopolitics. Defenders are somehow aggressors. GB news presenters are mistaken for news journalists. And I have got to... Actually, I've got to go, man. I can't stand here chatting all night. I've got to go and change my profile pic to a faceless purple-haired Quim. Apparently. Which, look, it might be offensive to some people, but at least it doesn't look like the kid from Flight of the Navigator just got dropped off in 2024. Right? Peace. Purple-haired Quims.